Good afternoon, everybody. Mike Winkler here, and I wanted to take a minute about getting the proper data into your QRadar, right? Getting the best use out of your log sources. By no means am I picking on Palo Alto. They're just probably the most popular log source we have. To say that I want to do about a dozen of these, right? If this is popular and this works out, about how to get the best information out of your log sources, right? To get to the right place. Okay, so let's get right to it. The problem we're trying to solve is about signal to noise. It is so easy to get a bunch of garbage data in front of you and not be able to see the data you need, right? The classic needle and haystack problem is we want to be able to get all of the valuable security information right in front of you without being stuck in the dross of all of those things that just distract us from that information. Okay, so I need to differentiate a point here before we dive into some of the technical specifics. There is a QRadar, there is a QROC. I'm going to talk about a specific feature in just a couple of minutes here that works in QRadar, but I can't attach it to a QROC, right? And by QRadar, I mean my hardware, your hardware, any of the popular cloud platforms or on a virtual machine, as opposed to the managed service by IBM of QRadar on cloud, okay? This is kind of a differentiation point that's going to make sense in the next slide or two. I just want to make sure we're all defining terms properly. Okay, so using a QRadar, I can use something called data stores. Data stores is a license that I can put on a QRadar of any size. Okay, so what this means is any excess capacity not in use by your security logs can be used for non-security logs. So this means by non-security logs, these are things that are not going to go through the SIM engine, are not going to generate offenses, but are still searchable and dashboardable and all of this good stuff. So if you're looking for a way that you can access your data and view it in the same look and feel as your QRadar, it allows you to do that without you paying the high cost of running it through the SIM engine, right? Because they're low value logs, we charge you that kind of low value price. Okay, so as an example, right, is if I have a QRadar all-in-one, this is going to have 15,000 events per second capacity, right? This is the big 3129 that's darn popular. Let's say I'm using 5,000 events per second to do my security logs. All well and good. That's a licensing thing, right? The other 10,000 events per second of machine capacity is not in use. So you could add a data stores license to that and grab any of these log files that are not going to be security valid so that you can store them all in the same place. They have the same search interface, the same look and feel, all of that good stuff, right? So this allows you to kind of make that value judgment about high value and low value logs in your environment and what works best. Okay, so down to the specifics. Palo Alto and QRadar, right? And this is a Palo Alto 9 and 10 I did the research on. These are both extremely smart solutions, okay? So that when you look at the integrations, okay, this is the custom properties that by default in the app that's in our app store. All well and good is you need to do very little custom work when you're adding Palo Alto devices. That is to say, it's all already been mapped, right? So I am not saying you don't need to tune the log source. Anytime you add a new log source, you're going to need to tune it. This is the truth. But all of that stuff about making the two understand each other or even understand what's important, the work is all done by the guys at Palo Alto and by my team here at IBM to say once the data is coming in, it's already making a lot of these great judgments for you. You then need to just tune it a little bit. Okay, so I am not a Palo Alto expert. Okay, I do all right. I am a QRadar expert. I went out and found a video by Packet, spelled that way, called Mastering Palo Alto Networks Logging and Reporting. And if you're trying to do some of the things I talk about here in the next couple of minutes and you don't know where those screens are or how that work, I am recommending the video of by Packet, okay, Mastering Palo Alto Networks. Okay, so getting right to it. When I'm in the log forwarding profile, there is a whole bunch of logging options, okay? And you will notice a number of categories, and I've got auth, threat, traffic, and wildfire. These are your high value log sources, and these should always be forwarded to QRadar, right? These are things that, and we'll talk about priorities in a minute, should be sent to QRadar because these are the big value logs, right? Now there is some data, right, to get out of the data log, the tunnel, the URL. Sometimes this is valid security data, sometimes it's not. And when you're making a value judgment about what you want to run into your license and your capacity and your QRadar and all of that good stuff, these are valuable, but not the most valuable. So they can be of use. And you're going to have to look at these and you're going to have to make that value judgment about whether you want to run them into the threat engine or whether this is something that you should forward to data stores, right? So it's inside the same QRadar architecture. And maybe you're in a place where you don't care about that tunnel log and you don't forward it to QRadar at all and it just dumps. Okay, or maybe you find that URL traffic is highly valuable here. But the fields that I have in red, you should always forward to QRadar. The fields in yellow are the ones you should consider forwarding to QRadar, even if it's only at the data stores level. Okay, once again, to be kind of specific, I created a log forwarding profile match list. Okay, that one's a mouthful. And you can see where Palo has already done a lot of the hard work in determining how important things are. This is one of the places that I really want to stress how darn smart both these solutions are. So anything that's considered high, critical, or medium, you should absolutely always forward to QRadar because these are the important things. Anything that's low, you should send. Should it go into the SIM model? Maybe, maybe not. Right? That's a value judgment, but anything that's informational should never go to the SIM model, right? This is what they call level 6 logging sometimes. And because Palo is a really smart solution and QRadar is a really smart solution, it is already writing rules in this about the highs, the criticals, and all of this to say these are things it considers important. QRadar correlates this to the other things that are going on, and it's going to be able to generate offenses for you. Okay, now you can add these lows and informationals, and I'm not saying they have no value. I'm saying they're very high volume, right? Very high fat, low protein for the amount of, for what it costs you to get into the system. These are the least valuable logs. So if you're configuring a Palo Alto and today is day one and you grab all of my red boxes and you tell it to go, this is the best way to get started. And the yellow boxes are the things you should consider as time goes by and as you see what your reality looks like to get the value in from your Palo Alto. But if you do it this way, you will, inside an hour, have the data generating that's giving you good quality QRadar data in your offenses without having to noodle around with it. From here, you start tuning to make the specifics to your environment. Thanks, guys. I am Mike Winkler, and in case I have not said it yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks.